delay because I'm just alone a while ago, and my colleagues are busy with other work. So I'm just gonna give you some guidelines or the mechanics on what to expect when you travel to the Philippines after today that you're a dual citizen. I want you to know the procedure so that there will be no confusion when you decide to travel to the Philippines. So when you applied for dual citizenship, the application form you filled out is it's officially called Petition to Reacquire or Retain Philippine Citizenship. So if there's a petition, there's a corresponding reply from our side saying if it's approved or disapproved. So today you will be receiving three documents that comprise your dual citizenship certificates. So the first one is the order of approval. This is the sample. So this one basically states that we have seen your application and we found that you complied with the requirements and everything is found to be in order and you are found to be qualified. So we issue this order of approving your application. So since your application is approved, you need to take the oath of allegiance, which is required under the law to complete the process. So the second document is the oath of allegiance. This is the formal copy. The piece of paper I gave you is just the código, the one you will read later on. So this is the formal copy. It's in Filipino and English. So once you're done with the oath, you're technically a Filipino citizen once more. So the last and most important document is the identification certificate. This is the most important one because this is now the document which states that you're again a Filipino citizen. This is similar to your Australian citizenship certificate, but the only difference is it has your personal details, your photo, your thumb marks, and your signature. So this is now the proof that you're a Filipino. In the Philippines, there are only two acceptable documents as proof of citizenship. One is the identification certificate, this one, and a valid Philippine passport. Because after today, once you become a Filipino, you're eligible to apply for a passport if you want to. So these are the three documents: the order of approval, oath of allegiance, and the identification certificate. So what happens if you intend to travel to the Philippines without applying yet for a passport? You can use your Australian passport in traveling to the Philippines, but if you're staying more than a year in the Philippines, because only Filipinos are allowed to stay more than a year in the Philippines. So if you intend to stay more than a year, bring your Australian passport, but upon arrival, show this also to the immigration officer so that he will know that you're a dual citizen and he will stamp your Australian passport with the entry stamp and put the notation IC because you showed an identification certificate. The reason why I said if you want to stay more than a year, those who haven't applied for dual citizenship yet, who are former Filipinos but Australian passport holders, they can visit the Philippines without applying for a visa with us and they can stay for a year in the Philippines. That's the balikbayan privilege. Australian passport holders who are not former Filipinos, they can also visit the Philippines without applying for a visa, but they can only stay for 30 days. So that's your difference. If you are a former Filipino holding an Australian passport, you can stay for a year. But full-blooded Australians, they can only stay for 30 days. But if you're a dual citizen, you can stay as long as you want in the Philippines. There's no limit to your stay. But as I've said, you need to show proof that you're a Filipino upon arrival so that your Australian passport will be stamped. So once it's stamped, you can now stay 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the Philippines. And then when you decide to return to Australia, when the immigration opens your Australian passport and he sees that stamp with the notation IC, he won't fine you for overstaying because it suggests that you're a dual citizen and a Filipino. So as I've said, you also have the eligibility to apply for a new passport. So in case in the future you have a new Philippine passport and you want to travel to the Philippines, you don't need to bring this with you as long as you have a valid Philippine passport. So when you exit Australia, you only show the Australian passport, but upon arrival in the Philippines, you show the two passports, the Australian and the Philippine passport. And then the immigration officer will stamp both passports with the entry stamp. But this time, instead of putting the notation IC, he will put PP, double P, meaning Philippine passport. And also the Philippine passport will be stamped as well. Then again, if you stay for more than a year, and then when you exit and they open your booklets, your passport booklets, and they see those notations, they will not fine you for overstaying. I see here that some of you are married to Australian citizens. If you, in the future, if you decide to stay or retire in the Philippines and you will be bringing along your foreign spouse, unfortunately, they cannot apply for dual citizenship because under the law, only former natural-born Filipinos are allowed to apply. But if your foreign spouse intends to join you, they can apply for what we call the 13A non-quota immigrant visa. Apply for that visa initially, then once he arrives in the Philippines, it will be converted to a permanent residency visa. So that your foreign spouse will be considered a permanent resident, and he will be issued an alien certificate of registration card. And with that ID, he may stay indefinitely in the Philippines as a permanent resident. So after today, you're again a Filipino, so all the rights and privileges that you enjoyed before as a Filipino, you will once again enjoy them, except for one right, which is the right to run for public office. So if you intend to run for election in the Philippines, you need to give up your Australian citizenship and vice versa. That's also required here in Australia. I heard a while ago people discussing elections. We have elections this coming May. Unfortunately, if you want to vote in this coming elections, unfortunately, you cannot yet participate because you need to register first as an absentee voter if you want to participate. So for this coming elections, unfortunately, you cannot join the elections. But in the next presidential elections in 2022, we will, because the registration process runs for 2 years prior to a certain election year. So for this election, this May, the registration process finished last September 30 last year. Because COMELEC needs to collect all the applications for registration, and then they will come up with a certified list of overseas voters. So once your name is put into that list, you are allowed to participate in the election. So probably for the next presidential elections in 2022, we'll be opening again the registration by the end of this year. So please monitor our website, or sometimes we advertise in TFC, in Filipino newspapers, and also if you go on to the Philippines, we normally announce the registration process. So if you want to register, come to the consulate and we will take your biometrics and it will be sent to COMELEC. So hopefully in the next elections you will be able to participate. The next elections in 2022 is more important because it's the presidential elections. So okay, so please, any announcements that are important for the Filipino community here in Sydney, we normally put it in our website. So please be if you have time, please check our website so that normally we announce the registration process once it becomes available. So after today, since you are Filipino, if some of you give birth to children in the future, they are considered automatic dual citizens already because of you. But because they are born here in Australia, you need to register their birth with us at the nearest embassy consulate so that they will be registered as Filipinos. The same goes true with, for example, an Australian couple who are missionaries in the Philippines. If they give birth to a child in the Philippines, of course that child will be given a Philippine birth certificate because he was born in a Philippine hospital. But because the parents are Australian, the Australian parents need to register the child with the Australian embassy in Manila so that the child will be issued an Australian passport, and that will be the basis why he is also considered Australian. So that goes through with us. So if you give birth to a child in the future, that child is dual citizen. So you need to register the birth and then get the child a Philippine passport, and that will be the proof that he's also a dual citizen. So also, if you have children included in your application today, minor children as your dependents, they will also enjoy the same privileges as you enjoy as a Filipino. So if you plan of sending them to the Philippines to study, they are allowed to study as a local student, so they will enjoy not foreign tuition fee, but the local tuition fee, and they don't need to apply for a student visa. So if you have any questions later on, the oath taking will be administered by Consul Melanie Diano, the one who signed your certificates, and you can ask her questions later on if you have one. And also myself, I will be at the back if you need answers to your queries. So thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Mr. Yolando.
There you go, you can't put the picture on.
You can't vote yet. Right? You have to wait another 2 years.
Oh my God.
You have to get registration for that. And it takes about 2 years to get registration.
Sabay-sabay pala tayo pag nag-apply.
Yeah, we're gonna keep them on it. And then we're gonna vote for the president.
Oh my goodness.
Sayang. Sayang si Doc.
Good afternoon po. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. I'm Consul Melanie Diano. I will be administering your oath of allegiance this afternoon. But before that, do you have any questions po regarding dual citizenship? Wala na na-explain na lahat ng gusto ng mga alis. Miss Alsan.
Ikaw muna na. Ikaw pa muna. Ha?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines. And obey the laws and legal orders promulgated by the duly constituted authorities of the Philippines. And I hereby declare that I recognize and accept the supreme authority of the Philippines and will maintain true faith and allegiance thereto. And that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Congratulations.
Dapat ko Hindi ko wala. Ha? Kita
All
na. Ay,
stand
ako.
up. We will see
Oo.
the Philippine national.
kindly sit down. Miss Consul Melanie will now distribute your certificates. Once your name is called, please come up front, get your certificate. And if you have companions with you, they can take photos for posterity. After that, if you don't have any more questions, you're free to leave the premises. Thank you.
Gusto mo po ito? Ayan.
Johnson.
Paano yun? Ito ganyan. Kaya mo. Kaya mo dalawa. Dapat sa atin access dito.
Yung camera niya. Puntahan mo. Kuhain mo yung bag ko na lang. Kuhain mo yung bag ko.
Erlinda Sophia Lakis. Jaime Dumanas.
Hindi ko nakuha ang picture. Video lang. Dapat yung bag ko dinala mo.
Tinawag na ako.
Teresa Pro.
Tama na yan.
Ayan. Stop mo na.
Oo, stop na.
Lubat na pati. Mamaya magpa-picture ka. I-stop mo na. Tapos, i-stop mo.
Hilda Kulya.